I imagine that once it's approved, we're going to get a pump and then a dump and then a slow grind up.
GM friends, and thanks for joining into DeFi-Logic's TA Tuesday call at 12 p.m. Mountain Time every week. Server members in DeFi-Logic enjoy weekly community calls, request chart reviews, and join in on live discussions every day, all day, and sometimes all night. Depends on how we're feeling. The link to join is in the video description below. For today's TA Tuesday, we will review charts for Solana, Injective, Celestia, Arbitrum, Lido, SSV Network, and for legacy markets, S&P 500, Dow Jones, NASDAQ 100, US dollar index, US 10-year bonds, and finally, gold. And with that, over to the man we call Eddie.
Hello. We're going to get into this. I am going to just look at Bitcoin, Ethereum really quickly too, actually. So we have Bitcoin spot ETF most likely to get approved tomorrow, or depending on when this video comes out, potentially yesterday. It's going to be Wednesday, right? So I want to just look at it really quickly just to see if there's anything actionable. So first of all, I imagine that once it's approved, we're going to get a pump and then a dump and then a slow grind up, like I mentioned before. I still think that's going to be possible.
A few moments later.
Unless you're like a news trader with a news terminal, it's not advised to trade it. But I think we're going to run these highs, most likely 48, potentially even these ones too. Maybe not. I think this section here, cap price for a local top. So this one over here. So that's basically what I'm looking for, is for us to top out locally right here, while the ETF buyers buy the top and then give them some nice drawdown, just like we're all used to. Who knows how far down, but I think a 30% drawdown from when they enter will be fitting as a welcome to the industry, right? But then as far as how far down it will go, it's really hard to say. I think that if you want to put some stink bids just to fill some spot, somewhere down here would probably be where I'm looking to get some fills on. I know for a long time I've been watching this price action that's never got ran. So I think this isn't a bad area to put some stink bids just in case, because if you get filled here, this level most likely will hold. I doubt that it trades back into that range that I broke out of right here. So I think it would be really nice to get some fills there, and hold it for higher. So I plan with this. And then Ethereum, just to regurgitate what I've been saying for a long time, I think that Ethereum will be the next kind of trade. We've had plenty of opportunities to buy this zone. There's a chance, same idea, that it gives another dip into it. So I think you still just want to focus on buying spot dips into this for the Ethereum ETF trade. That's just the basic idea with that. And that same high that I marked out on Bitcoin that I think we'll take out once it's approved is basically this one right here. So lots of room to run with that. Obviously, there's some big resistance that we got to flip first. Unless you're playing with large amounts of money, there's other beta plays to Ethereum that we've mentioned, and we'll go over a few of them. So first of all, Sol's just been strong. I have some stink spot bids in case we get a ETF flush. Basically, I think my first one starts like right here. So from 76 down to, I think I have them as low as 60, with the bulk of them being around 69, like I mentioned. I just think that's a good meme number to get fills on. So I have the same idea for this as well too. So I'm just looking to load up on spot in this region. If it can sweep down these lows, like we mentioned before, then that's a really good signal to get long once it reclaims. So still the same idea. I know it's sloppy looking, but that's the whole plan. Is I'm comfortable buying spot this entire region. Oops. And if I get one of these things where the price action dips below it, as soon as we reclaim, it'll be like a heavy trade for sure. Other than that, resistance is here. If we can get some bullish price action above these closes, then you can aim a bit higher too. I think the next level of resistance on Sol, probably just these highs is what you would aim for. Maybe these ones. Hard to say for now. We'll just mark those out for now. Still have this whole level to flip before we even get there. But it's setting up a short right now too. I'm not really trading crypto until the ETF news. I just don't To me, it feels like gambling. Yeah, on an ordinary day, and maybe I should take this. This is a pretty good short setup it's putting in right now, and it would go into where I want to start bidding. But personally, I'm not taking any trades until after the news is over. I just have spot stake limits everywhere. Is one as well. We already spoke about it, but just to reiterate it, I basically have spot limits throughout this entire zone. I'm starting like around $27. No, actually, I'm starting right below this wick, I believe. So if we can take that wick out, that's where my bids start. And I'm basically just bidding spot all of this. You can watch for the reclaim stuff to get a tighter area, but for me, I want to be staking this anyway, so I'm perfectly happy buying anywhere below $27. It looks like if it can close above this box though, then you can aim higher, and it's in price discovery, so we have nothing really to aim for. Currently, it looks like it's also putting in a short setup though, which I won't be playing. I just want to buy spot lower. That's the plan. You could also maybe even start before the wig. Since I'm just leaving blind bids, I want them to be as greedy as possible. That's my plan with INJ. I guess a lot of the stuff I've already made plans with, but yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like trading before the ETF is basically gambling right now. So we caught a pretty huge move on ARB last time. GG to anyone who took that. Get a new plan. This level is still unfilled. So I think with ARB, if you want some spot buys, this is a good spot to aim for. We've already got into the last area of we already got into the last point of interest, right? And this one is still unfilled. So I think if you can, and I have an alert set on it still too. So I think if we can get some prices into this level, it's a pretty good buy. And it's the same thing. Like right now, it's just all about getting a flush to load up on spot, especially if you believe that high prices will be trading higher within the next few months, which I completely agree or believe, especially since we're already all moving on from Bitcoin ETF to Ethereum ETF. So coins like ARB and all the L2s and Ethereum related coins should perform really well. Looking to buy this level, maybe even down into these highs too, if I get them. So I'm just trying to load up on spot, because I do believe that this is going to break out higher soon. Oh, and if you look at it too, let me pull up a clean chart really quick. I just noticed something. I believe I've mentioned this pattern before. Let's wipe out this one. I've talked about before, like buying when the chart is smiling at you, right? Right here was like the best time to buy it, but then it also does that whole cup and handle thing that a lot of people like to trade, which is gonna fall right into the level that I want to bid, right? So it's looking really good on several different analysis as far as loading up on ARB. So if we can get down into this level, we can aim much higher with it. I don't know, I'd probably be looking at, I don't know yet, just higher. That's all I know for now. Probably like around $5 maybe, but that's a pretty sweet trade, assuming we get fills down there. Basically what I'm looking at for ARB for now. Hold on. Lido, same idea, same thing. We got filled and it pumped a good 38%. As far as new plans, I don't remember what this line is for. I'm just gonna delete that. Let's just delete all of these actually really quick. Same thing, it's looking like it wants lower from here. Personally, I think everything's looking like it wants to pull back. So where should we get involved in? So this one's just much more of a sloppy chart. It's hard to read, which makes sense because it's a staking coin, and staking coins, they have these really crappy price action charts. I still really do this zone, even though it's already been tapped once. So I'm not as confident in it. I'm not going to be leaving blind bids, but I'll more so just look for that kind of stuff, the sweeps with the reclaims, to get involved in this. Maybe just some, if you want to have some stink bids, maybe down here, right? Anticipating it to take out these lows right here that have been tested so far. Maybe I'll do that. Actually, I do like that idea. Some bids down into this region will look good. Otherwise, we just look for bullish price action above and we'll get new plans. But Lido maybe wasn't the best one to look into because these staking coins they trade so crappy. But it is what it is. I think it'll do well. This one I've just been noticing a lot as well. It's got really nice levels that it's looking like reclaiming. So it's trying to reclaim these kind of lows right here and these closes. It's looking good, but it may, but I don't know. I would like maybe something a little bit lower to get in. Hold on, let me look at this a little bit heavier. Delete those. No. So a reclaim of this would be good, which it's retesting it right now, but I don't want to get involved right now because I think the whole market's going to pull back. maybe this level looks good. It's quite big, but the whole idea and the whole premise of my thought process right now is I just want spot for the next run up with coins that should do really well. So maybe down here, I like something in that region. And if it goes lower, I'll just maybe like half of the allocation in here. And if it goes lower, like maybe like the other half down here, if you get it type thing. Oops. Something like that makes sense. Or if it can reclaim this one here, a different color to reclaim. Or once it gets back above, let's say it only gets down to here. If it gets back above there, it looks good again. So for now, the market just looks heavy to me besides Bitcoin. Bitcoin's pumping, which it makes sense because everybody's excited about the ETF, most likely to get approved. But just to go back to that chart again, I really do feel like everything's going to pull back. Maybe I'm wrong, but this just makes a lot of sense for me to see this playing out and then it trade lower. Preferably down here and make everybody who's buying the ETF sweat and potentially sell for a loss. Welcome to crypto. But that's my plan for now. So I will go ahead and pass this back on over to you guys.
Yeah, dude, I'm glad that we're on the same page because I'm just like, I'm accumulating spot. That's my mode right now. And I feel like the ETF is not priced in, whether that means we get a pump and then a dump. I think that's like the most likely thing, right? Pump and a little liquidity grab before we go down to shake out the paper hands.
What makes the most sense to me. We'll see what happens though.
Yeah, cool. A TA new like me gets it. Thanks, Eddie. The other thing is that for the ETF, that does seem like it's a signal is Gary Gensler is typing quite a bit on Twitter lately. So seems like he's trying to put out some information prior to these ETF approvals, but that could be read wrong. We'll see. Alrighty. Now that we are done with the crypto section, we will go over to the legacy market section with GeForce.
Okay, thank you. Happy New Year, if I haven't said that to you guys so far. I'm going to go over the legacy markets, which is the S&P 500, the Dow Jones 30, the NASDAQ, and then we're going to also look at dollar index. And as Pepe said, my charts are always a daily chart. So I go off of the daily chart because I think it's king. I think it puts in a lot of information, complete information. So this is a S&P 500. As you can see that we had a great day yesterday, okay? It was up significantly. It was up 66 points, okay? So it hit that 4,700 level. Again, that's more of a psychological level than a technical level. And it's climbing. You can see the black line, the standard deviation line is climbing. It's going to climb up to this area here, which is 4786, which was a recent high at the end of the year, right there, end of December. It's going to attempt to get up there. Whether it gets up there or not is another issue. So what we're going to see is, will it get to that recent high or not? That's the question. So it should climb to that point, and if it does, it could form a double top. And then if it does form a double top, whether that top is a higher high or it's a lower high. So we're going to see. That will give an indication of what it's going to do next. If it's a higher high, then things are looking very bullish and going up. If it's a lower high, then I'm going to be looking. If it doesn't reach that point there of 4786, I'm going to be looking to see if it'll go down to this below the 4700 level. And if it tanks below this midpoint, which at that point would be an M, it would form an M, then it will probably drop. So right now it's the beginning of 2024. Traders are trying to figure things out, and they're loading up. As you can see, yesterday was like the first trading day that all the professional brokers and traders are back, and so it was a nice day for the S&P. Moving on to NASDAQ, we'll look at that. It had a good day yesterday as well. We're looking at right now trading at the standard deviation line. So again, is it going to get up to this recent high? I don't, with NASDAQ, I don't know. I'm suspicious of that. So that's why I really didn't put that line in. I think it's going to fall short and then go down from that point. But that's my opinion. Again, I'll be looking if it does get above this recent high level. That was at 16,898. Then we're looking very bullish. If it doesn't and it starts to fall back, it falls short of that level and falls back, then again we're looking at it forming an M formation, and then I'd be looking to see if it gets to this midpoint here at 16,276 and dropping below that. So that's what I'm looking at. Everything's like wait now on those two. I think it's still going to go higher. Going to the Dow Jones 30, it's at all-time highs right here at the end of December, and it's just muddling through. So what's interesting is that it did bounce off of the standard deviation line yesterday quite a bit, and it's bouncing off of it today right here, which is at 37,361. So this is a little bit more muddy. It's not clear as the other two as far as forming an M formation. So we'll see what happens at that point. Also moving on to the dollar index, then you can see that it's popped up from the lows. It's coming and then it's trading sideways. So to me, this is also an indication of a Bitcoin getting improved with the Bitcoin ETF. I think the dollar index is just waiting to see what's going on with that. I'm actually really thinking that the inverse correlation between the dollar index and Bitcoin is pretty solid. We'll see that, or crypto in general. So I think this really shows that it's looking and waiting for that ETF to get approved. That's why it's trading flat over the last 4 trading days. So not much there. Okay, now we're moving to the US 10-year yield. Okay, so this is the percentage yield. We're looking at, you can see that we had since November major lows. We had 1, 2, 3, 4. And then into December, we also had another low. Last 2 months into the 2023, it's dropped. Now it's climbing back up. So the yield is climbing back up and it's past that standard deviation line. So now it's trying to see where it's going to go. If it's going to bounce back down to that standard deviation line and then bounce up further again, which I've seen it happen a lot of times, or is it going to go back down to the lows? I think the lows are done. I think we're going to start seeing things climb slowly higher. And what I mean slowly higher is that 2024 is an election year, presidential election year for the US. So I think things are just going to kind of muddle sideways on that. I don't think it's going to go back down to a major low, but I don't think it's going to climb either. The Federal Reserve Bank is going to make sure that inflation stays low during the election year. That way they can say that the economy didn't affect the election. That's what they've been doing for quite a while now. Last thing we're going to look at is gold. So gold is very interesting. It's getting more and more, how can I put it, interest because of what's going on with the yields. So again, this is the 2000 level is right here. Okay, I know there's a lot of lines on this chart, but the 2000 level is a significant psychological level for gold. Now, this is the top level is the 2007. So it hit there back on the first part of December, and then it climbed higher, okay? So you can see here that the recent high is higher than the previous highs. So that's looking very bullish. So what else is looking bullish? The standard deviation line is looking bullish. And then I drew this line all the way back here, this low point in the middle of November 13th. And then it hit here again on December 13th, okay? Maybe there's something significant there. And then it's climbing up. You can see that yesterday it bounced off of that. It whipped down to it, tagged that diagonal line and back up. So right now I'm thinking that gold's going to start trading narrower in this triangle. You see how it's forming the triangle. So we got a flat line up here, diagonal line at the bottom. And as it goes towards the point of this triangle, notice that I haven't put a point at the triangle, I'm keeping it open-ended, is that you run into price compression. And when there's price compression and it forms a triangle, usually there's going to be a pop or drop. So a lot of people don't know what direction it's going to go. Some people think they do. I wait and see, watch. When the price compression comes and starts to form to the point of the triangle, that's when I put it on a watch list and start to really look at it. So gold is forming a triangle formation, and we'll see if it continues on that. Okay, that's all I have for the legacy markets. Back over to you, Pepe.
Okay, good stream, guys. Remember, as a member of the server, You can request chart reviews, discuss markets daily with other server members, including GeForce and Eddie, our resident TA Gigabrain, among others. If you're interested in testing out our TradingView indicator strategies, you can check them out while they're in alpha and beta testing, see how they work for you. Remember to use them with your own TA and with your own due diligence as well. They are not financial advice. We will see you next Tuesday at 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. GN, friends.
Join us next week in Discord for TA Tuesday at DeFiLogic.com.